Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? I'm really excited to share this with you guys. Um, it is something that I've definitely put a lot of thought into on my own transformational journey of losing 190 pounds. So I'm honestly so happy you're here. I know that life is full. We have kids and work and the constant mental checklist that never end. So the fact that you made space for yourself today, that already tells me something powerful. It tells me that you're ready. You're ready to feel different in your body. You're ready to stop doing the same start and stop dance. And you're ready to finally understand why you haven't been able to hold the results you crave. And if you've ever found yourself whispering, "What is wrong with me?" Because I definitely had a lot of moments like that. I just want to say out loud that there's nothing wrong. You're not broken. You've just been following a system that was never built for you. And today we're going to flip that system completely on its head. And by the end of this class, you'll see exactly why and how to create change that lasts because it comes from the inside out. So I want you to take a deep breath and feel your shoulders drop because you made it here tonight. My goal for the women in my world is to finally feel empowered in their weight loss journey, empowered in their ability to keep the weight off, not because they know all the tips and tricks, but because they literally have embodied and become the next version of themselves who loses the weight with ease and keeps it off. Contrary to popular belief, weight loss does not have to be hard. It's only hard because we've been told that it's hard. It's only hard because we've been taught to lose the weight based off of force instead of embodiment. But I know that you know that there's something off. I know you can feel that because I felt that. You know, you know this because for some people, it isn't much of an issue. You know, because you've been on this yo-yo journey for years and years and years. And you know, because you have a desire for something better, which means that it exists. Your intuition knows there has to be something else to this whole experience, and that's why you're here. And I know with all of my being that you're meant to live a life where maintaining your weight and feeling good in your body does not have to mean hardship and stress. I know this because you're here. You resonate, and that's how energy works. That is why energy is such a big portion of what I coach in weight loss. So thank you for showing up for you today. You deserve it, truly. Now, what you'll discover today and what we'll be diving into is why the old habits and outcome first weight loss model keeps you stuck, what actually is happening in your brain and nervous system, the 4 archetypes that quietly run your habits, and what you need to do to correct it, what weight loss energetics really means, and finally, I'll go through my Embody method, which is the framework that makes results feel safe and sustainable. And I want you to think of today as a blend of science and soul, because that is what I'm all about. We'll talk about the how, but we'll also talk about the energy that makes it finally click. So, why do you lose weight and gain it back? Now, let's be real for a second. Diet culture does not want you healed. It wants you dependent. And this is evident by the amount of people we have stuck on the hamster wheel. Every new plan, every miracle fix thrives on your restarts. You've been told to track, restrict, push, but never to understand the you who needs to be behind those actions. Because it's not food that keeps you stuck. It's actually your identity. And we'll go through this. throughout this masterclass. You can't bully yourself into becoming a new woman. You have to rewire her. And that's what we're doing here. And that's what I do for the women in my world, full on transformation so that you don't have to even think twice about your habits. And that's the goal. That should always be the goal. When you shift who you believe you are, the habits, the food choices, even the motivation, they start matching naturally. So, if diets aren't the answer, what is? Well, it starts with identity. You can't create a new body from the same self-image that built the old one. The version of you who's peaceful around food and confident in her skin already exists inside of you. She's just waiting for permission to lead. So right now together, I want to do an envisioning exercise together to meet that version of yourself. So I want you to close your eyes for a second as I lead you through this. And if you're in a safe place to do so, I want you to inhale through your nose and exhale. I want you to picture the woman that you want to be. How does she wake up in the morning? How does she talk to herself after a hard day? What does peace feel like in her body? I want you to notice how she carries herself. And I want you to know that she's not an impossible dream version. She is you minus the noise. And today we're going to clear that noise. I want you to really anchor in to this vision of her. How does she feel when she's getting dressed in the morning? How does she feel at social events? Or how about during family photos? More than likely, she feels safe, right? Confident, sure of herself, trusting. It's a beautiful place to be. Now I want you to take another breath and come back to the room. And I want you to anchor into that vision for the rest of this meeting because your ability to envision your future self will carry you far. So, since we're spending this time together, let me just go ahead and introduce myself properly. So, my name is Alexa. I'm a 37-year-old mom of 6, and my youngest is 2 years old, and my oldest is 17. I live in Utah. I love lifting weights. That was something that came during my weight loss journey. I love sushi and summer thunderstorms. And I'm an introvert who thrives on quiet mornings and deep conversations. I used to be a certified personal trainer. I became certified after losing 150 pounds, but now I prefer to work at the intersection of neuroscience, energetics, and transformation. So everything I shared today, it's not just theory, it's actually lived. It's messy, it's real. I've walked this path. 7 years ago, I weighed 330 pounds. And for years, I tracked every bite and punished myself with workouts I hated. I thought discipline was the answer. But the truth, I wasn't fighting food. I was actually fighting my own nervous system and my own identity. When I learned how to create safety inside my body and how to embody the version of me I wanted to be, the weight started to release almost effortlessly. And it really did feel that way. I lost 100 pounds naturally in the first year and a half and kept 150 pounds off for years. I then lost the remaining 40 pounds with the help of a GLP-1 just earlier this year. And that shined an even bigger light on the state of my hormones and what I need to do to properly care for myself. I'm no longer on a GLP-1, but it was very, very helpful to quiet the noise and allow me to dive deeper into myself and reflect. And I believe that it can be a very powerful tool, and especially if people are utilizing it in a way where they're pairing it with identity work and weight loss energetics, just to be able to maintain the results in the event that they decide to get off. So what changed from my before wasn't my discipline, it was my energy. When I stopped operating from shame and started operating from safety, everything changed. And that's what I teach now, not how to shrink yourself into acceptance, but how to feel safe enough to expand. Because a lot of times we're hiding behind the extra weight. Now, it's not willpower that's needed, it's actually safety. And here's the science of it. Your brain is wired to keep you alive, not happy. It loves what's familiar, even if that familiar thing hurts. So when life feels chaotic, your nervous system pulls you back to old habits, and that feels safe, even if it's not serving you. That's why you can know what to do and still not do it. It's not a discipline problem, it's a safety problem. So we need to bring that safety down into our bodies and into our identities to allow for that change to happen. Your body isn't working against you, it's trying to protect you. And when we teach it that new choices are safe, it finally lets change happen. Now, I'm going to show you the old way of losing weight, the way that most of the fitness industry uses. So, as you see here, we have a pyramid that's upside down. At the top, we have outcomes, which is the scale of the genes, the before and after photos. This is the main focus that a lot of people have. And then below that, we have behaviors, which is the tracking, the restricting, the grinding. And then way at the bottom, we have identity. And that's how most of us have been taught to build change. And it's no wonder it collapses. Under stress, it wobbles and falls every time. And this is what is preached in mainstream health and wellness industries. You can't balance off such a small portion of the triangle. But if we flip that pyramid right side up, we have identity here at the bottom, a firm foundation, and behaviors grow naturally from our identities. And then the outcomes are at the top because it's a byproduct of the first two, of the identity and of the behaviors. And that's what we're doing here. We are rewiring your foundation so everything else becomes stable and sustainable. Your brain is like plastic. And neuroplasticity is a fancy word for your brain's superpower, its ability to change. Every time you practice a new thought or a new habit, a new emotion, you carve a tiny pathway in your brain. The more you walk it, the stronger it gets. And every time you practice a new thought, I want you to think of this like a trail in the forest. And the more you walk that new trail, the easier it gets to follow. And the old one starts to get overgrown. And that is exactly how identity change works. Not by force, but by repetition and compassion. You can quite literally become a whole new person if you wanted to. Our brain is designed to adapt. So the more you present these new identities to the brain, the more it will become part of who you are. And this is where everything really starts to change. Now that we've talked about how your brain rewires itself, let's move into the part that runs almost everything, which is your subconscious. 95% of what you do each day happens on autopilot. What you eat, how fast you eat, what you tell yourself when you slip. These are just well-worn neural loops, habits built from repetition, not personality flaws. Habits that you learned to help you feel safe at one point in your life, or thought patterns that were on repeat until it became second nature. I call these loops your archetypes, but more specifically, we are talking about weight loss archetypes here. They're not who you are, but they're simply the survival patterns your nervous system learned to keep you safe. And that's actually really good news because anything learned can be rewritten. And that's a huge focus for my clients. So today we're going to meet those patterns with curiosity instead of shame. And I want you to notice which one feels close to home. We're going to go through this quiz and I'm going to read them out loud. I'll show them on the screen as well. And I want you to answer the one that resonates the most with you. And this is going to help you discover which archetype you resonate with. So if you have a pen or pencil, that would be helpful. Or if you're just really good at memorizing which answers you chose, that's fine as well. There are no right or wrong answers, so just honesty. And as I read them, I want you to pay attention to the little, oh, that's me. That sensation is awareness and your brain realizing it's safe to see itself. So let's go through this quickly. So number one, you're about to start a new program. What is your first thought? A, finally, a plan I can get excited about. This one feels fresh. B, I hope I don't screw it up like last time. C, how will I make this work with everyone else's needs? And D, this time I'll do it perfectly. No slip-ups allowed. Which one of those resonated the most with you? Number two, you miss a day of tracking or workouts. What story do you tell yourself? A, this probably isn't the right plan anyway. B, C, I always mess things up. C, of course, something came up for the kids and work. I'll try again another time. Or D, I ruined everything. What is even the point now? 3, life gets stressful. What's your inner dialogue during those times? A, I need something new to get my motivation back. B, I can't handle this. Food will make me feel better. C, my stuff can wait. My family and work need me first. And D, if I just tighten up harder, I can control this. Number 4, the scale doesn't move for 2 weeks. What are your thoughts? A, this isn't working. I should try a different program. B, figures. These programs never work for me. C, I just have too much to do. I can't make time for my workouts or tracking calories. And D, I need to be stricter. 5, you see another woman achieving her goals. What's your reaction? A, I need to know what her diet and exercise plan is. B, she must have more willpower than me. C, she probably has way more free time than I do. And D, she's clearly way more disciplined. I need to push harder. Number 6, you picture your future self. What feels most out of reach right now? A, staying consistent and finishing out a program. B, trusting myself not to sabotage when emotions hit. C, putting myself first without guilt. And D, living in balance without doing the most or doing nothing at all. 7, what comes up first when asked what you need the most help with on your journey? A, I need help sticking to a program all the way through. I get bored. B, I need help getting out of my own way and not sabotaging. C, help me set boundaries so I can finally make space for me. And D, help me learn balance so things feel more sustainable. 8, it's Monday morning and you just bought groceries for your new plan. What's running through your head? A, I love the clean slate feeling. This is going to be the one that works. B, okay, don't screw this up like last time. C, I hope I can get everyone fed and still have time to make my meals. And D, I'm going to follow this perfectly. No mess ups this time. Number 9, it's week 3 of your program. Your excitement has dipped. What happens? A, you're already eyeing another plan or challenge that looks more exciting. B, you find yourself snacking or overeating and thinking, might as well give up on today. C, family schedules take over and your meals and exercise slide to the back burner. And D, you miss one workout and immediately feel like you've blown everything. And the last question, 10. It's Saturday night. What usually happens? A, you're planning to restart with a cleanse, detox, or new plan on Monday. B, you overeat, then promise yourself you'll get serious again on Monday. C, you're driving kids around and grabbing fast food on the go. And D, you've been strict all week, then reward yourself with cheat meals all weekend. Now, I want you to tally up your scores. And if you got mostly A's, you are the diet hopper. If you got mostly B's, you're the self-saboteur. If you got mostly C's, oh, sorry, that was B's. If you got mostly C's, the martyr mom. And if you got mostly D's, the all or nothing achiever. Now, let's go through the different archetypes and just kind of name off some of the characteristics. So the first one we have is the diet hopper. She lives for day one. The new challenge, the fresh spreadsheet, the high potential, it's intoxicating. But when the novelty fades, so does her self-trust. She jumps from plan to plan, always looking for the fix that finally sticks. But what she's really chasing is the feeling of possibility. Her loop looks like this: excitement to perfection, to exhaustion, to guilt, to restart. What she truly needs isn't another reset. She actually needs roots. She needs to teach her nervous system that stability isn't boring, it's relief. So if this sounds like you, your growth edge is to stay when it stops feeling shiny. Your mantra becomes, I'm safe in the slow build. Next, we have the self-saboteur. So this woman is powerful and terrified of it. She starts strong, but the moment progress slows or compliments start coming in, she pulls the plug. Okay, this is the one I identify with majorly. It's not because she wants to fail, but because success feels unsafe. Her body believes the higher I climb, the harder I'll fall. So she unconsciously creates chaos to bring herself back to familiar ground. And this isn't laziness, this is actually protection. So when I first lost my first 100 pounds, this pattern definitely haunted me. And every time I got close to a goal, I'd find a way to trip. A binge, a skipped workout, a story that I was too busy, or the compliments would start rolling in. And it was crazy because I would literally start binge eating after, or I would just stop showing up to the gym. There was definitely a lot of fear there and definitely so much self-sabotage. It felt comfortable to stay where I was, and it felt comfortable to be viewed by others the way I had always been viewed by them. So the self-sabotage healing begins when she teaches her body that peace is safe and success is stable. So if you're nodding your head right now, try telling yourself, it's safe for me to win. Let that feel true for even 2 seconds, because that's where the rewiring starts. And actually, you'll notice that these archetypes and the traits that are there, these traits are spilling over into other aspects of your life as well. So knowing which one you identify with can give you a lot of insight into other areas of your life and what's holding you back. Next, we have the martyr mom. So she's the woman who does everything for everyone and feels guilty the second she stops. Her nervous system only feels safe when she's doing. Stillness feels like danger, and rest feels selfish. I feel like a lot of us might know moms like this, have friends, or you might be that mom. So when she finally tries to focus on herself, the workout, the meal preps, the therapy sessions, her body literally interprets it as a threat. And I see this a lot of times in moms, and they'll say, I just can't get consistent. But what's really happening is their body equates self-care with abandonment of others. So your healing is going to begin with boundaries. One small pause before saying yes. One deep breath before agreeing to fix everything for everybody else. And each time you honor yourself, your brain releases dopamine and you prove to yourself that you're safe even when you're tending to yourself. The new belief here needs to be when I rise, my family rises too. And that's powerful because it's true. Next, we have the all or nothing achiever. She is powerful, capable, magnetic, but she only knows two gears. She's either all in or she's all out. Her worth has been built on achievement. And if she isn't crushing it, she feels like she's failing. So she white knuckles her way through diets and programs until her nervous system collapses. And then her body has to reset. She has learned that rest equals danger. Her body has learned that rest equals danger. But rigidity always breaks. Her healing is learned flexibility, that discipline can coexist with gentleness, and that small, imperfect actions are still movement forward. When she starts to value rest as much as progress, her results double because now her body finally trusts the process. And her mantra is even slow growth is still growth. All right. So we're going to talk about weight loss energetics now. Now that you can see the patterns, let's zoom out. So those archetypes, they're the symptoms of building from the wrong foundation. The upside down pyramid we talked about earlier. And to truly change, we have to rebuild from identity and safety, from the inside out. That's where weight loss energetics comes in. After training women in the gym and going through my own journey, I realized that there was a whole separate aspect that was being left out, and it was the energetics portion. And so I decided to create a process based off of that. It's not just mindset or macros that lead to transformation. It's the energetic frequency of transformation. It's where your brain's wiring meets your body's wisdom. And when you learn to align these two, everything becomes lighter, calmer, and more sustainable. Weight loss energetics is where science meets the feminine. It's the bridge between your biology and your beliefs, the art of aligning your nervous system, your thoughts, and your energy so your body finally feels safe to change. You've been told that transformation is about force. So, calories, steps, macros, willpower. But real change happens when your body relaxes enough to receive it. When your energy says, I'm safe, your hormones will shift, your digestion improves, inflammation drops, and your brain opens to new possibilities. Think of weight loss energetics as the current that carries transformation forward. You stop swimming upstream and instead let your body remember how to float. Because when safety meets strategy, results stop feeling forced. They flow. So here's how it all fits together. Weight loss energetics is the current, the flow of energy, safety, and identity. And the embody method, which we will talk about in a second here, is the container, the structure that holds that current so it has direction and power. One without the other collapses. If you have too much flow without structure, you drift. And if you have too much structure without flow, you burn out. So together they create sustainability. This is the balance of masculine and feminine energy in transformation. Structure gives safety and flow gives freedom. When you have both, you stop forcing and start embodying. And that's exactly what we build inside the Embody method. So now that you understand the current, let's explore the container. This framework was born from my own transformation, every relapse, every rebuild, every breakthrough. It's where neuroscience meets soul work, and it's where we bridge identity, energy, and action so change becomes inevitable. Because when you do this work, change is inevitable. So let's walk through the phases together step by step. This is where we stop trying to change and start remembering who we are. So the Embody method is my 5 phase framework that guides you through resistance and self-sabotage to safety, self-trust, and effortless embodiment. You'll revisit these phases over and over, each time with more awareness and ease. So I want you to think of it as a spiraling upward. This is part of transformation. So every time you level up, you will come back and have to go over these phases again. You'll just be going over them at a deeper level. And I'll explain the phases here. So to begin with, we start at the foundation, which is envision. This is where everything begins, just like the exercise we did earlier today. So you cannot become the woman you're meant to be if you can't see her. In this phase, we anchor your next level identity. You clarify your vision, not just what you want to look like, but how you want to feel. We reprogram your subconscious to believe it's possible. When you visualize, your brain's mirror neurons light up. Amazingly, rehearsal in your mind actually does help build new neural connections. And it's not a woo-woo thing. They've actually done studies where they have proved that people can rehearse maybe a play for their sport or a piece for their piano recital through their mind, and it would actually help improve their skills. That's pretty crazy, right? So I want you to ask yourself, who is the woman I'm becoming? How does she move, think, and treat herself? You can refer back to that exercise we did earlier. But it's so important for you to see her clearly and to speak to her often because this is where embodiment begins. It begins in your imagination before it ever reaches the mirror. And this is something we dive deeper into in my world. So, phase two is mindset. Here we find the loops, the guilt cycles, the shame scripts, the all or nothing thinking, all the inner noise that convinces you you're failing. Mindset isn't just what you think, it's what your nervous system believes is safe. So when you reframe a thought repeatedly, you build a new neural pathway and safety begins to expand. This is where you shift from I hope this works to I make it work. That's the confidence that you have from trying to control the situation to calm confidence. We also replace pressure with presence, and that allows you to stop fighting your thoughts and start reparenting them. Because it's not about silencing your mind, it's about teaching it to feel safe in new beliefs. Phase three, boundaries and behavior. Visions and mindset mean nothing without protection. So, this is where you create the container that keeps you safe enough to stay consistent. You'll set boundaries with food, time, people, yourself, not to restrict, but to regulate. Every boundary says, I am worth protecting. Consistency isn't discipline, it's safety repeated. And every time you honor a boundary, whether that's with your children or your spouse or your partner or with work, your brain releases dopamine, strengthening the neural link between self-trust and peace. So we start small. One boundary that tells your mind, I matter. Maybe it's an earlier bedtime. Maybe it's saying no without apology. Maybe it's eating slowly enough to taste your food again. But this is the moment your body really starts to exhale. And this is where you build trust in yourself. Phase four is own your habits. This is where alignment turns into momentum. So we use micro commitments, tiny nervous system safe actions that anchor your new identity into daily life. No more relying on motivation, no more burnout. We are turning to micro commitments. Neuroscience calls this myelination. Each repetition strengthens the pathway that makes your habits effortless. It's how brushing your teeth feels automatic. We apply the same principle to movement, nourishment, and self-talk. So I want you to ask yourself, what's one thing my next self already does naturally, and how can I practice that today? This is where you stop trying to do healthy and you start being healthy. The fifth phase is deep healing. And in this phase is where everything integrates. So we calm the stress response and release stored emotions that have been driving sabotage. We teach the body it's safe to rest, to succeed, and to be seen. Lasting transformation isn't about control, it's about safety, as I've said many times. Because when your body feels safe, your prefrontal cortex, the part that makes wise, long-term decisions, turns back on. And that's when effortless choices happen. You no longer force yourself to choose the salad, you want it because it feels aligned. It's just who you are now. And this is where transformation stops being something you chase and becomes who you are. Phase six, your next self. This is the embodiment phase, the integration of every phase before it. At this point, you will have anchored into your vision. You will have rewired your mind. You will have created safety in your body. You will have become the woman who trusts herself. When identity, energy, and behavior align, your brain's reticular activating system starts filtering reality to match. Your outer world reorganizes around your own inner truth. An example of the reticular activating system is when you decide you want to buy a red Jeep, and suddenly you're out and about and you're just seeing red Jeeps everywhere. And you might wonder to yourself, wow, have there always been this many red Jeeps around? Your reticular activating system is just filtering out the noise. So you see red Jeeps because that is what you have your sights focused on. And so in my world, we apply this to your weight loss and your goals and that next version of yourself. I want you to know that your next self isn't waiting out there somewhere. She's actually been inside you this whole time. That's why you feel the pull to move in that direction. You wouldn't feel that if it wasn't where you're meant to go. So I want you to breathe that in for a second. So before you were overwhelmed by rules, trapped in the all or nothing cycles, letting food and guilt run the show, now you're grounded in self-trust, regulated, consistent without force. After you go through these phases, you make choices from alignment and not fear. You're no longer ruled by cravings. You're guided by peace. And that's the shift from weight loss to embodiment, from surviving in your body to being fully at home. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, I'm done starting over, I'm ready to stop fighting my body, I'm ready to step into the identity of my next self, which is where I was when I was 330 pounds. I was done. And I was so ready to level up and finally feel good in myself again. I was ready to stop feeling uncomfortable in my clothes and avoiding photos at every chance and even avoiding mirrors. I had avoided mirrors for years. If this is how is this if this is the space that you're in, then the embody experience is where we do it together. So the embody experience is a 4-month private coaching container designed for deep, sustainable transformation. It is where structure meets safety and science meets soul. So, inside the embody experience, you receive bi-weekly one-on-one coaching calls where we walk each phase side by side, circling back around however often we need to. There's also a private WhatsApp access for daily support and accountability, identity and mindset reprogramming tools, neuroscience-based habit design and integration. I know those are kind of big words, but it's kind of a fancy way to say we rewire and change who you are from the inside out. We're just teaching you, we're just giving you all the tools. And then weight loss energetics practices to regulate your energy. And lastly, a personalized next self blueprint that is individualized to you, mapping your nutrition, your movement, and rituals to the woman you're becoming. We're going to make sure everything is aligned. Again, this isn't about fixing yourself because you're not broken. It's about coming home to yourself. And when your body feels safe, transformation becomes effortless. Your next upgrade starts here. It's time. Trust that voice. That whisper is your next self calling you forward. I know you're ready for this transformation. You wouldn't be here if you weren't ready to level up your life and embody that next version of yourself that you know is there. And you know that there has to be more outside of the typical habits-based weight loss approach. And there is. So if you'd like to apply, DM me at alexandria.niko with the word embody, and I'll send you the application link. Or you can also go to the link in my bio on Instagram and apply there. Right now, the next 6 clients will receive a special founder's price, and this will be the lowest it will ever be. And I'm excited to share this container with amazing women like you who see the bigger vision. I want you to repeat this to yourself. It's safe to change. It's safe to step into my next self. Because weight loss is really just the beginning. The real transformation is becoming the woman you've always known you were meant to be. And you'll find that this transformation will literally transform your entire life because the skills that you learn on this journey will translate elsewhere to all of the other areas. And you will approach life with more confidence, with more self-trust, and more belief in yourself than you've ever had before. Because you will finally be embodying that version of yourself that gets what they want, that accomplishes their goals, that feels safe to change. Now, I have a bonus gift for those of you who joined live. So before we close, I'm just gonna pop this link in the chat. And you can download it right there. Hopefully this works. So I created a guided companion piece called the Identity Bridge Workbook. It's designed to help you integrate what we covered today and to connect to the version of yourself connect the version of yourself who's been surviving with the woman you're becoming. And inside you'll find guided reflection prompts, visualization exercises, and daily micro commitments that build identity, safety, step by step. This was a really powerful tool that I've used in my life. Whenever I'm wanting to level up, I always come back to this exercise. It's very powerful, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. So take it, use it, let it remind you every day that change doesn't come from force, it comes from remembering who you are. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and for showing up for you. I want you to remember this. Every breath of awareness rewires your life. And every small act of self-trust becomes a vote for your next self. So you don't need to overhaul everything tomorrow. You just need to start walking in alignment today. I hope you guys have a good night.